Hey, everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I'm a full time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you that are just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover. And through my channel, I share with you the techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business, and I answer your questions. If you are a narrator, you're welcome to stay. If you're an author, this video is actually for you. So, what we're going to talk about today is what to look for in an audiobook narrator. But that's what we're going to talk about today in today's video. So, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it. Okay, so you are an author who has just spent months, if not years, on this book that you have just shed blood, sweat, and tears over, and you are so proud of it, and you have it listed on Amazon, and it's selling well, you're very proud of it, and you decide that you want to have an audiobook version of your book as well to complement the print version. Because a lot of people are listening to audiobooks these days. They seem to be ever increasingly popular. And you decide, okay, I'm going to have an audiobook made, but now what? How do I find the right voice? How do I find the narrators? And when I find them, what do I look for? Well, there are a few ways to go about this. I find that uh, any way you choose is not the wrong way. Any way you choose to go about this is your way, right? There's no wrong way to find yourself an audiobook narrator. Of course, there is ACX, which is an arm of Amazon. And if you have a book already on Amazon, creating an ACX account is really, really easy. You can use your same credentials for Amazon as you do for ACX. And ACX is a platform where authors or rights holders, you, can meet or find or request auditions from narrators that are able-bodied and willing and able to narrate your audiobook. So if you're on ACX and you decide that you want to post your book and then solicit auditions from narrators, you can do that. But I would say even before you hop on to ACX or anywhere else for that matter, I would really think about what is the voice in your head when you were writing this book, or when you read back through it, or if you're any of your beta testers, if they read through it, what is some of the feedback that you heard? I mean, in regards to maybe how a character should sound, what is their attitude? Are they male? Are they female? And then correlate that to how do you want this audiobook to sound, right? Do you want a female narrator who can possibly perform a male voice, or vice versa? Do you hear a male voice as a narrator and then maybe have a completely different cast of people for your characters? How do you want to go about this audiobook? Maybe you have a self-help book that doesn't require any different voices, just the narrator narrating your self-help book. Is that voice male or is it female? Is it middle-aged, kind of an older, knowledgeable sound? Or is it maybe someone just a little bit younger? Maybe your target audience is, more of the contemporary, generation. Is it a children's book? Is it something that's really going to require many voices or just one? Oh, and another thing that I wanted to mention, do you need to be able to communicate with your narrator via Zoom or video calling? Do you need the ability to meet with them prior before they start working on your audiobook? Are there a lot of very particular or specific type of character traits that you need to relay to the narrator before you get started? That is something you also want to ask the narrator up front once you find one that you like, is to see if they are willing or can meet with you via video call before they get started so you can clarify some of the things that you're looking for or want for your audiobook. And another thing that you want to consider is your timeline. How quickly do you need your audiobook done? Is this something that you need to release at the same time as your print version or your ebook version? So just to keep in mind that some audiobooks, depending on the length of your audiobook, of course, could take anywhere from a week to a couple of months, depending on, again, the length of the audiobook. because your narrator's going to want to know these things so they can be sure that they can meet your timelines. Have you considered a budget for your audiobook? Are you going to want to pay for the entire production up front, or are you going to want to share royalties with the narrator? You can do it either way, but just make sure that you have a budget in mind for your audiobook and which way you want to go about it. If you choose to share royalties with the narrator, then with ACX, for example, each sale, 40% of that sale goes to the rights holder and to the narrator. They share that 40%, meaning every sale of the book, you, the author, get 20% and the narrator gets the other 20%. And you share in those royalties on each sale for 7 years, as long as that book is available on Audible. If you decide to go with the pay for production route, then that means that you are going to be charged a per finished hour rate, not a per hour rate, a per finished hour rate. Every working hour to make a finished hour of audio could be anywhere from 2 to 5 hours of work to make a finished hour. But again, you're not going to be paying per hour, it's per finished hour. But each per finished hour is going to be, in terms of rates for narrators, are going to be anywhere from $50 per finished hour up to $400 per finished hour, depending on the skill level and experience of your narrator. Oh, and another thing to consider, do you need accents? Do you need any kind of character attributes, particular ones for any particular characters? All of these things that you want to have in mind before you reach out to a narrator, because more than likely, if it's an experienced narrator, they're going to ask you these questions up front. So you need to be prepared how to answer them. And then back to the budget. Per finished hour is, let's just say you have a 30,000 word book, right? Roughly speaking, every 10,000 words equates to a finished hour of audiobook narration or a finished audio, right? So if you have a 30,000 word book, that is 3 finished hours of audio. So if you found a narrator that charged $50 per finished hour, you're looking at a $150 fee for that audiobook production. But the narrator has no financial interest in that book going forward. It's more or less a buyout, right? You're paying up front for this production and you claim all of the royalties on each sale of that book going forward. But again, not every narrator charges $50 per finished hour. I would say the industry standard is about $250 per finished hour. So that 3-hour, 30,000 word book could effectively be $750. But again, you're not sharing any royalties or sharing any monies with that narrator going forward. They are paid for their time and for their work, and that is it. But in terms of finding a narrator, you could go to a place like ACX, could go to Findaway Voices. You could reach out to your publisher directly. They might have some ideas on where to send you to find a narrator. They might even have their own roster of narrators available to them. Or, and I always say this, YouTube is a wealth of information. Social media, YouTube, wealth of information. There are tons of voice actors and audiobook narrators like myself, even freelance marketplaces like Fiverr and Upwork and Guru and Freelancer and Voices.com, Voice123. All of these other voiceover specific marketplaces will have tons of voice actors and audiobook narrators on it. There are a lot of different avenues that you could go. If you use specific search terms or hashtags, you could probably find an audiobook narrator. I guess it really comes down to how much effort or work you want to put into it. If you have a publisher that offers this service, it might be a little easier to just reach out to your publisher and say, hey, help me out. I'm looking for this kind of voice. You know what I mean? They might be able to help you in that realm. But if you are a little bit more hands-on and you were looking for a particular kind of voice or a particular kind of sound, and you want to find someone yourself because only you hear that voice in your head, that's perfectly fine. Take a look around social media, use those hashtags like audiobooks, audiobook narrator, that sort of thing, YouTube. Great place to find up and coming voiceover artists who maybe choose not to be on every single platform. So you never know when you might find that diamond in the rough or that exact voice that you're looking for that may not have been available on a freelance marketplace or a voices only type of a website. But knowing exactly what you're looking for and what kind of attributes your characters have, what age range you want your narrator to be in, if it's a female, can they do a male voice? Do you even want distinctive voices for your characters? Is it an e learning book and you just don't need, character voices? Do you want someone that's articulate or speaks more in a contemporary kind of an English, more relaxed and slangy, for lack of a better term? But just have a good idea of what it is that you want. What is the voice of your audiobook? And then, secondly, also determine what your budget is going to be. As I mentioned before, roughly 10,000 words equals 1 hour of finished audio. So when you're looking around and you find a narrator that has $100 per finished hour, your audiobook, if you choose to work with them, is going to be about $300. You get the idea. So I hope this helps you to kind of narrow down and to help you find or where to find audiobook narrators and maybe to understand some of the terminology that you're going to come across when you find one and they start to give you all of this information and you're just going, I don't know what you're talking about. But I hope that helps you. And if you have any questions for me that I can further clarify for you, I'd be happy to do so. Please leave your questions or comments down below and I'll be happy to answer them for you. But if you found this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Those really help me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any more questions or would like more information about me, my work, or how I can help you, for my narrators that are probably still watching, get into voiceover, please visit my website, voiceoverangela.com. Same goes if you would like to talk to me about narrating your audiobook, voiceoverangela.com. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.